Despite being considered one of the league's most brilliant minds, Erik Spoelstra has never won the NBA's Coach of the Year award. The Miami Heat might just surprise enough people next season for that to change. This won't be the case if you ask the folks over at the Worldwide Leader. A panel of ESPN insiders projected the Heat to win fewer than 40 games. Equally notable, the same group did not have any Miami representatives finishing in the top 5 for one of the major awards. That includes the Coach of the Year category. None of which comes as a surprise if the expectation is that the Heat will have another losing season. At the same time, now that the bar is set so low, it paves the way for Miami to rise noticeably above it, and for Coach SPO to make franchise history. Miami has only had one Coach of the Year winner. Pat Riley is the Heat's only head honcho to bag a Coach of the Year honor, which he picked up for his body of work during the 1996-97 campaign. Winning one of his own would put Spoelstra in even more rarefied air. Oddly enough, this is an award many would have expected him to already have. For all of the gripes Heat fans may have about some of his lineup tendencies, Spoelstra is regularly ranked as the best coach in the association, bar none. Entering last season, CBS Sports not only had him in the number 1 slot, but he finished inside his own tier. Yet, Spoelstra has never landed higher than second on a Coach of the Year ballot. And he's done that only twice. This could be Erik Spoelstra's best shot in a while. Voters tend to gravitate towards 3 kinds of candidates for this honor. Coaches taking the reins of a good team they turn into an even better one. Entrenched names whose squads take a leap after acquiring marquee talent and/or getting a ton of internal development, and those captaining a roster that obliterates preseason expectations. Spoelstra and the Heat fall firmly into that last bucket. ESPN summer forecasts are proof of how many are writing them off as a relative non-threat. Even the league itself has earmarked them for mediocrity. Look no further than how few nationally televised games they will play this season, 5. Consensus feels like it's veering too far into overly pessimistic waters. Norman Powell was acquired for a song and will address one of the team's most glaring issues, floor spacing and perimeter rim pressure. The front office has also quietly cobbled together a rotation that could stretch more than 10 capable players deep. Sure, the risk of overtaxing franchise big man Bam Adebayo is real. And yes, Miami could still use a primary playmaker to drive the offense. Even if it believes Kasparas Jakušionis will eventually be up to the task, he isn't hitting that peak off-rip. Assuming they get relatively favorable health, though, the Heat are built to claw their way up the Eastern Conference ladder. Aside from the Cleveland Cavaliers, New York Knicks, and Orlando Magic, the landscape is littered with question marks. People may prefer the Milwaukee Bucks, Atlanta Hawks, or Philadelphia 76ers to Miami. But finishing ahead of them all is far from outside the realm of possibility. In the event the Heat do just that, they'll stake their claim as the NBA's biggest surprise. And Spoelstra, in turn, may have his strongest Coach of the Year case yet. Plenty of draftniks envision former University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign star guard Kasparas Jakušionis to be selected with a lottery pick in the 2025 NBA draft, but the opening 14 picks of the draft came and went without him hearing his name called. The Miami Heat took his name off the board by selecting the Lithuanian with the number 20 overall pick. Jakušionis' new teammate, big man Nikola Jovic, admitted that he's quite familiar with his game and watched him hoop at the collegiate level. "I know a lot about his game," Jovic revealed. "I followed him in college because he played with my really good friend Tomislav Ivizic, and that's why I watched his game." Jovic said he was surprised to see Jakušionis fall so far in the draft as well, and he seems to think the 19-year-old will be a great piece for the Heat moving forward. "I was really surprised when we drafted him because I really thought he was going to be like a top 10 pick, Jovic said. "But it's for sure a good pick for us. He's a great player. I haven't really talked to him, but I can't wait to see him play. And I'm sure he'll be a great piece for us." Miami used its only pick in last June's draft to add Jakušionis to the fold. 5 Reasons Sports' Greg Sylvaner claimed leading up to the draft that lots of people thought the draft pick could end up as part of a trade for star forward Kevin Durant, but that never came to fruition. Durant got moved to the Houston Rockets via trade. It's far too early to definitively conclude as to whether the Heat made the right decision drafting Jovic in the opening round of the 2025 NBA draft, but his play in Summer League certainly left a lot to be desired. He had moments where he flashed his uniquely well-rounded skill set, but they were few and far between. He averaged just 9.5 points on 31.8% shooting from the field and 21.4% from three-point range, coupled with 2.8 rebounds and 2.5 assists per contest. Jovic can get rid of any bad taste that Heat fans might have left in their mouths from his Summer League stint with a productive and promising stretch of preseason play. Miami will tip off its 6-game preseason schedule with a bout against the Orlando Magic on October 4th. Here's to hoping that Jovic will follow in the footsteps of recent Heat draft picks who were highly successful as rookies, including big man Kel'el Ware, who finished 6th in the Rookie of the Year award voting last season, and forward Jaime Jaquez Jr. The Miami Heat are quickly approaching a crossroads. On one hand, they could look to acquire a genuine superstar to help lead a championship push. On the other hand, they have some exciting young talent that could lead to the franchise entering a rebuilding phase. Part of being a rebuilding team is clearing the salary sheet, allowing for flexibility in free agency and on the trade market. With that in mind, Bleacher Report's Zach Buckley has proposed a deal that would give the Heat another young talent and help them clear some long-term salary. Buckley's trade idea looks like this. Heat get Tobias Harris, Ron Holland II, a 2026 first-round pick, lottery protected, a 2030 first-round pick, and a 2031 first-round pick swap, top 3 protected. Detroit Pistons get Tyler Herro and Nikola Jovic. With both Herro and Jovic due for extensions this summer, Miami could face increasing financial pressure, Buckley wrote. Holland, the number 5 pick of the 2024 draft, would personify another dart throw. He's a long way away from stardom, but his motor would make him a perfect fit for Miami's culture, while his athleticism, downhill scoring, and defensive versatility all point to significant upside. A move like the one Buckley is proposing would represent a significant change of direction for Miami. Erik Spoelstra's team has always been competitive. Furthermore, the Heat have opted for retooling rather than rebuilding since Pat Riley has been overseeing things in the front office. Heat unlikely to trade Nikola Jovic. Recently, Nikola Jovic has been included in multiple trade ideas. However, according to Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, the Heat refused to include Jovic in their trade package for Kevin Durant. Per source with direct knowledge, Heat was willing to offer Wiggins, Rozier, Highsmith, Jaquez, and 20th pick in June's draft for Durant and Cody Martin, Jackson reported via X. Per Shams, Suns wanted Jaquez, Jovic, Highsmith, 20th pick and a pick swap, as well as Wiggins/Rozier inclusion. So, Jovic and Kasparov J need to work out for justify the decision, which was a difficult one for Heat to reach. If Riley wasn't interested in including Jovic in a deal for Durant, it's hard to envision him putting him in a deal like the one above. Instead, Jovic could find himself sticking around with the Heat for years to come, especially if he begins to showcase some of his undoubted potential. Heat could target Russell Westbrook. A more logical move the Heat could make before the start of training camp is extending an offer to Russell Westbrook. The former MVP is currently an unrestricted free agent. There is reportedly no interest in his services at present. Andy Bailey of Bleacher Report believes the Heat should explore the opportunity of bringing him to the Kaseya Center. The Miami Heat's point guard rotation is largely populated by combo or shooting guards, Bailey wrote. Right now, it looks like Tyler Herro could be the starter at the one. Having a real, veteran point guard on the roster could stabilize a second unit that figures to include lots of younger talents like Jaime Jaquez Jr., Nikola Jovic, and Davion Mitchell. Westbrook would help plug the gap in the Heat's guard rotation. He would also come at a reasonable price point, with a veteran minimum deal likely. There can be little doubt over the impact Westbrook could make in Miami. However, as things stand, there doesn't appear to be any interest from Riley's side.